What's up guys, it's Matt here, and today I want to talk about something that's really exciting that's about to hit the market. So if you're unfamiliar, Waves is the company that makes Superrack, which is a live plugin hosting software. And it's a little bit more than that. It actually ties in with Waves SoundGrid, the network, and there's servers that you can use. It's been used for a number of years. It's a pretty well tested and proven system, but the limitation for it has always been that you have to use Waves plugins only. That is kind of one of the issues that Waves Superrack and Multirack have always had. But that looks like it's going to become a thing of the past here pretty soon, because Waves just announced something they are calling Livebox. And Livebox looks to be an answer to Fourier Audio's Transform engine. If you weren't paying attention, recently Digico acquired a company called Fourier Audio and subsequently announced a new product called Transform engine. It seeks to solve that problem that we've always had, which is not being able to use anything other than Waves plugins live, and you would have to play all sorts of games. There's some other live plugin hosting softwares out there, but nothing with the proven reliability of using a dedicated server. That's what Transform engine is seeking to solve. However, Waves, the company that has made these servers for years and years and years, just announced their answer to this product. And today I want to take a closer look at what we know about it, what we don't know about it, the questions and concerns that I have, and whether or not this is going to be something that you're going to want to consider for yourself. So if you're unfamiliar with Waves and Waves Superrack, go check out the video that I actually just put out last week, where I actually walk through my Waves Superrack template. But for those of you that maybe have no idea what Waves Superrack is, I'm gonna summarize it really quick. So if you've ever used an audio console and you have compressors and EQs and effects and stuff that are built into the console, what Waves Superrack allows you to do is it allows you to use Waves plugins, which are commonly used in the studio environment, but you're able to actually use those and host them on a server that sidecars your console, and you can bus things out to Waves and then back to your console, so you get all that amazing processing from Waves on those channels or buses, however you want to use it. The key component in this system is the Waves server, and that's what Livebox is. So let's take a closer look at it. So here is the Superrack Livebox. This is the little landing page they have for it. I am signed up to learn more about it when it comes out and when they release information on it. If you notice, if you're paying attention to Wave stuff, you notice that it does look like their new version of their Extreme server. It is a very similar looking product. My guess is it's in the same exact housing, and it's probably the same piece of hardware, just with different software installed and maybe some different I/O ports on the back. So let's look closer. Any VST3 plugins live, Dante and Maddie ready, one simple box. Now this right here is the important thing that I think that most people are pretty excited about. A lot of people do not have dedicated Waves cards on their consoles. So if you have a Digico that has a built-in Waves card, then that's awesome. That's what I have, and it works great. It's very seamless and allows network control of Waves. If you don't, then you would have to get a dedicated expansion card for Waves. So most consoles are shipping with either a Dante card or pre-installed Dante compatibility. And even if you have a console that has none of that and all you have is some extra MADI ports, this looks like a really cool option, because now you can use your MADI outputs and inputs that maybe you wouldn't be using in any other circumstance. It's just giving you more flexible options to bus in and out. Now that is something that as of yet we do not have confirmed exactly what the I/O on the Fourier Audio Transform engine is going to be. You can kind of see in their tech specs, all they're saying is that it is going to be Dante compatible. So 64 channels of Dante, and that to me is really cool. I think Dante for most people is going to be really, really awesome, and for the most part pretty flexible, because you can always add an extra Dante card, or maybe if you need to convert from Matty to Dante to do this, you totally can. It's still pretty flexible. I think for the most part, if you're going to have one, Dante is probably the best option. But the fact that the Livebox is giving you the option to run either one is really cool. Now, my question is there going to be SoundGrid compatibility? If you're used to Wave servers and Superrack and all of that already, then you're already going to be familiar with Wave's proprietary SoundGrid network. My Digico console has the Wave's SoundGrid card built in already. And that is accounting for, that's 64 channels of I/O that is on that console, that if I was to move to something like this, I wouldn't be able to use unless it is SoundGrid compatible. So those are questions that I have. It seems really silly that this system would come out and not be compatible with SoundGrid. That's actually one of the questions I have about the Transform engine as well, is since Digico makes the Transform engine, they own Fourier Audio, and therefore the Transform engine, will there be compatibility to be able to use that Waves card built into your console to send 64 channels both ways in and out of the Transform engine? Those are all questions that I have. And they're important questions because I don't have any more I/O capabilities, because I have both of my DMI slots dedicated to Dante and Clang. And my DMI Dante card is completely dedicated to sending my channels to broadcast. So those are things we need answered. But let's look a little bit more at the actual thing that we're looking at here. So Livebox brings the power of VST3 plugins by all manufacturers, Waves and others, to any live production or broadcast, complete with Dante and Matty connectivity, ultra low latency, and the industry standard Superrack Performer plugin host, all in one simple box. Now, my other questions that I have with Superrack Performer being the host software, I think that that's really smart. They've been building out that platform for a while now, and hopefully that means that it's going to be relatively bug-free at launch. Now, for me personally, Waves and me do not have the best track record when it comes to compatibility and reliability and just general customer support. I haven't had the best experiences with Waves, and I think that there's a lot of people out there that can probably speak to that as well. Now, we have always used the Waves servers because it's a very proven system that has been around for a very long time at this point. And still to this day, I hear the horror stories of people's servers crashing and just Superrack not working the way it's supposed to. So anything new like this, I'm definitely skeptical. I'm curious how they are going about reducing the latency on third-party plugins. There's going to be some background stuff that they're doing to make that happen, and I'm hoping that it doesn't compromise the reliability of the server. Something else that I wanted to point out: native processing, no additional hardware required. It does look like you're not going to need a Mac Mini or a computer to host Superrack Performer anymore, which is really cool because that reduces your cost. You don't need a computer, and it includes Superrack Performer, which is $99. So you won't need that anymore. So it looks like all you're gonna have to do is dump your plugins onto the computer that is built into the server. Dual power supplies, that's pretty cool. That's definitely nice. I think that they have a couple servers out now that do have the redundant power supply. That's really sweet. Curious about this unrivaled ultra low latency. I want to see numbers on that. There are obviously latency numbers involved with any conversion to Dante. So that is where there are definitely some potential issues that could happen there. With SoundGrid, there's some really cool things that they can do to reduce latency. You can actually increase the network buffer or decrease the network buffer. and it's very low latency. Now, I'm sure they would not be moving in the direction of Dante and Maddie if they did not have all of that stuff figured out already. So it's probably not something to be too concerned about. And the fact is that your plugins are going to be the thing that add the most amount of latency into this setup anyway. Not something I'm too worried about. I actually used to use a Dante to SoundGrid converter. That was the only way for me to get waves on my Pro 2 that I was using. So it actually ran through 2 different stages of network conversion and then 2 stages back to the console. And the latency was definitely increased. It was still not something that was noticeable enough to cause us any issues. So personally, that's not what I'd be concerned about. I think for me, this whole thing is really, really cool. I think that Livebox is the next step in Wave's live plugin use evolution. That being said, there are some things that concern me. Waves as a company has really, really turned me off in the past year. And I'm not super excited about giving them more money. Those of you that were paying attention, I would hope that you remember that it wasn't too long ago that the entire audio community teamed up against Waves when they announced a full move to a subscription-based service.
Hepbridge Farm remembers.
And obviously they walked that back, and they still have the ability to run your perpetual licenses. But the fact that they felt like they needed to make that move to begin with is the thing that scares me. Waves as a company is very broad. They make a lot of different products in plugins, and they are appealing to a wide audience. They're also marketing like crazy. And the thing that concerns me is that they are more focused on marketing and making a large amount of transactions, selling a ton of product, that they aren't so much focused on one singular product. The thing with Transform Engine that I think excites me the most is the fact that it's being created by a company whose sole purpose on this earth is to create that product. That is their flagship. And that's not what I see happening with Livebox. And when it comes to something like this, that's very expensive and also something that needs to be incredibly reliable, building it on the backbone of Superrack, which is a great software, but at the end of the day, it is really buggy. There are bugs in Superrack that I have seen for the past 3 or 4 update cycles that haven't gone away. And that's stuff that concerns me when it comes to recommitting to the Waves ecosystem. So we're definitely going to have to see. I will not be an early adopter on this. I think that I'm going to wait a long time, probably a couple of years at least, to see how it is received into the world. Is it going to be toured a lot? Are people going to be taking these on big tours? If so, how does it perform on those tours? And then comparing notes between this and Transform Engine. If Livebox comes in under or around $5,000, I think it's going to be very competitive against Transform Engine, because it's looking like Transform Engine is going to be sitting in that $12,000 to $15,000 range. And if this comes in under or around $5,000, I'm definitely going to be paying attention to it, and I might consider it. Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is this something that you're interested in? Are you planning on purchasing this when it comes out? Let me know your thoughts. I'd also like to know your thoughts on Waves as a company. If there's anything that I missed, if there's anything that you want to contribute, feel free to drop that in the comment section below as well. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you're liking this content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.